Yes, guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this afternoon's live stream. And there's plenty of news to get stuck into. Got a packed show to come. Obviously, latest on Ligt, latest on Raphinha. Sterling almost a done deal now, which is great news. Yeah, plenty to get stuck into. Todd Boehly's meeting, obviously, with Barcelona last night, which went mad on social. So yeah, loads to get stuck into. And I'm delighted to be joined by Pys. Bro, thanks for coming as always, mate. Really appreciate it. Let's get straight into it. Literally about 5 or so minutes before we come on, Ben Jacobs tweeted out that he's been told that Barcelona have matched Chelsea's offer, for Raphinha. Base fee is less, but total package now the same. Leeds and Barca have been involved in advanced talks for the past 24 hours. Nothing's been accepted yet, but a fast resolution is now expected. Leeds have forced Barca to act because they want everything resolved fast. They've already replaced Raphinha. Told Raphinha won't remain at Leeds beyond this window. And the next 24 to 48 hours is going to be massive. Barca can't delay. Urgent transfer is now required or Chelsea will become favourites. And he just goes on to say that contrary to some reports, Raphinha is still very open to Chelsea, not only if a Barca move falls through, but also if it doesn't happen quickly. I mean, Pys, your reaction to that, mate? We kind of knew that Raphinha wanted Barca. Barca would probably get themselves together. I mean, do you fully expect that move to happen now? We're out. Barca will get themselves together, won't they?
Yeah, I presume so. It's a really interesting one because, a lot of the Spanish media have been sort of pushing this Raphinha to Barca thing, and I'm just so unclear on like what money they actually have to spend, and even this sort of if they have matched, our bid as such, it's like how have they matched it? Is it in installments again? Have they upped the guaranteed fee a little bit? Like it's very, very interesting. Obviously, he said the overall package is the same, but it's the fees a bit different. So I think Chelsea are paying or want to pay a bigger guaranteed fee, which is what Leeds liked so much, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, Leeds coach yesterday, Jesse Marsh, said that Raphinha's got hopes and dreams, and we'll see what happens in the next few days. So look, it's very, very clear he wants this Barcelona move, and I expect it to happen some way or another. I don't know how they've made it happen, but if they do, then yeah, fair play. We'll have to see what happens with what we do next.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, mate. I mean, just on Raphinha, obviously, we were all excited last week when the bid got accepted, sort of come out of nowhere. It was like, we were interested in him, and then bang, that same evening, a bid had been accepted, and, we're getting excited about it. But obviously, time's gone by. It's clear that, it's probably not going to happen. I mean, mate, how disappointed are you that this probably isn't going to happen? I mean, are you annoyed to miss out on Raphinha, or do you think, there's other players out there? It would have been good, but we'll bring someone else in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as annoyed now because I feel like it's just dragged on, and I just want an answer. And I think because he does it. I'm not saying he doesn't want Chelsea, but he clearly wants Barca. And if that's the case, like, just let him go to Barca. Like, I don't know whether he would, ask for a transfer to Barca in 2 or 3 years if he joins us anyway. So, could be a bit of a risk on our part. But yeah, I mean, I'm slightly disappointed because he's a very good player. And we definitely need another winger as well, letting Ziyech go potentially to AC Milan. So look, maybe the Ousmane Dembele topic comes back up again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just on that, mate, obviously, Todd Boehly was in Barcelona last night having dinner with Joan Laporta, the Barcelona president. He was also with, I can't remember the other guy's name, Begdad Eghbali, I think, as well, senior part of the board. That kind of went under the radar. No one really knew about it until obviously it was put all over Twitter. I mean, mate, what do you reckon they were discussing there? Do you think it's just Boehly doing the rounds, getting to know sort of the big players in world football, or do you think, they were discussing more important matters? I mean, I find it hard to believe they were kind of sorting out deals for Alonso and Azpilicueta. I mean, do you think is there anything to read into this, or is it kind of people just getting a bit excited?
I mean, Todd Boehly, when he was on the way back to the airport, because by the way, if you guys didn't know, he flew straight back to London after this meeting in a restaurant, and yeah, I was posting videos on my Twitter. He was just ignoring all the questions around Aspi, De Jong. He was just going, great meal, nice food. It was quite funny. Yeah, it was quite funny. But yeah, no, I do think they definitely talked about, footballing matters, of course. It's probably a bit of both, like, like here, get to meet each other like he kind of did with George Mendes. But again, like, they definitely talked about stuff. I mean, he had a handful of what looked like paperwork or something in his hands.
Yeah.
Like, he was carrying it around like it was high school or something. It was quite interesting. It wasn't really locked away. I was thinking, oh no, he's going to get snapshots in Spanish media of what it is tomorrow morning. But no, I definitely think they discuss stuff. For me, I expect Aspi to go. I think that was
Yeah.
probably the main topic because he really wants to go. But De Jong was definitely talked about. I mean, why would you need? Bernardo Barley was there as well. Like, why do you
Yeah.
need two main owners travel to Barca if you're not talking about serious stuff? So, yeah, I think there was definitely more to it than just a meal on Aspi and Alonso talk.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, just while we're on the attackers, mate, obviously, as we just covered, we're probably going to miss out on Raphinha. Where do you think this leaves us now? Obviously, Raheem Sterling is 99% done, just waiting for the official announcement, the medicals, etc. That is pretty much done. I mean, Raphinha would have been great. It's not going to happen. Ousmane Dembele he's a free agent. I mean, Chelsea have not offered him anything as of now. The only offer he's got on the table is that one from Barcelona. Mate, where do you think Chelsea stand right now with Dembele? Do you expect us to make a move for him now that we've missed out on Raphinha? Do you think we might go and revisit that? Because you look at the other wide players, I know that we might want to add to the squad. There's not that many top quality players out there. And if we're expecting Hakim Ziyech to move on, possibly Timo Werner as well, at least one, if not two more, are going to need to come in. I mean, where do you see us turning to now? I mean, Dembele, do you think we'll look at him again?
I hope so. I mean, he still hasn't signed the new Barca
No.
contract. I don't know. It feels like for me, he's still kind of waiting to see what happens from someone. I don't know whether it's Chelsea or PSG or another club. I'm not sure, but it's just really strange. I mean, he's officially a free agent now as well,
Yeah.
so we could definitely revisit that as well. I have a feeling we might because he's a free agent. You can kind of, I mean, we'll have to offer some sort of sign-on fee, and we've just given
Yeah.
300k or something to Raheem Sterling. So I don't know what the exact wage balance is looking like, but I mean, yeah, we have got wages off the books. Saul, Lukaku, Ziyech is going to go.
Mm.
Aspi might go. So yeah, there's definitely room to do deals and give him a big fee. It's just so hard to say whether I expect something to happen or not at this
Yeah.
stage because this window has already thrown up so many surprises. I'm just like, I
Mm.
don't really know what's going to happen next. Like I thought yesterday, we'd get the here we go for Sterling, and then it's like,
It's
where is
not
it?
quite there,
It's gone all
yeah.
quiet again. Like it's really really random. Like you just hear stuff all out of the blue. It's like I don't know what's going to happen. It's really
Yeah.
hard to call.
I mean, mate, just also on Dembele, are you surprised there's not more of a market for him? Because it very much seems if he doesn't re-sign at Barca, it's only really us that could potentially be interested in him. Are you surprised with a player of his kind of his ability and at his age still very young? Yes, all right, his injury record's not great. Yes, he's on high wages, but are you surprised there's not a queue of clubs for him? Because that certainly surprised me a little bit that there's someone of his quality as a free agent. No one's really that interested.
Yeah, I guess I think the main thing is probably injury record. Obviously, there's question marks over his level of application as well. He does turn up late to training and stuff like that. But I think one of the main attractions for Chelsea right now is that we have Thomas Tuchel, and obviously they've got a
Mm.
very close relationship. So I wouldn't really be wanting. I think I'd probably still want him if we had another coach, but I think I'd be weighing up the cons way more. If we didn't have Thomas Tuchel, it's just because we have Thomas Tuchel. It's like I think the risk might be, worth the reward potentially for him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if a move for Dembele doesn't materialise, I mean, where do you see us looking in those wide areas? I mean, we've been linked with Cristiano Ronaldo. I know we've spoken about this before. I mean, mate, where do you stand on Ronaldo to Chelsea? I mean, reports obviously kind of doing the rounds that, well, I mean, Miguel Delaney reporting that Chelsea have not yet made a concrete decision on whether to make a move for Ronaldo or not. It will obviously be left to Tuchel. And the current feeling is that there's little interest in pursuing a deal. I mean, if we can't get Dembele, obviously Raphinha goes, and we need to bring someone else in, do you think the chances of Ronaldo coming to Chelsea have increased over the past couple of days, or do you still think it's a long shot?
I still think it's a long shot. Mainly because Thomas Tuchel hasn't really given any, like, we haven't heard of any decision from him. I'm guessing he wouldn't want Ronaldo after what's happened with Lukaku. That kind
Hmm.
of the thing is with Ronaldo, you have to base the whole team around him, and that's not really what Tuchel's trying to do. So yeah, I don't know whether going for an out-and-out striker is necessarily wise, but then again, Tuchel might think, well, this is too big of an opportunity for my coaching career to pass up on by, So yeah, I still think it's a long shot, especially as well because I know Man United don't want to sell, but like they'd probably put some ridiculous price tag on a 37-year-old if they was to sell to Chelsea. So I
Mm.
think it would not be a wise move. But who knows? This window has definitely thrown up some interesting things, and I think with Ronaldo, it's like if he really wants to move, he's just gonna move. Like it's Ronaldo.
Yeah,
Like he don't have to turn up to training. Like he can just
no.
force something. So
I mean,
yeah,
to be honest, mate, I think with the Ronaldo situation, I mean, he also doesn't want to be there. He's not going on their pre-season tour of Thailand and Australia. He wants out. I mean, I don't know. I know he's a phenomenal player, 37 years of age now, but he's still got a lot to offer. The market for him is not that big in terms of clubs that could actually afford him. I mean, if he wants out and Chelsea are the only interested party, United won't have a choice, I don't think, but to sell to Chelsea. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think, as you said, mate, it's still a bit of a way off. But I mean, Pys, would you be? I mean, are you against this? I know in the group chat you were kind of for it a bit, and then you were swinging around. Maybe it's not so good. But as you say, when you get presented with the opportunity to potentially sign certain football players, kind of all sort of thoughts and objectivity goes out the window. I mean, the thought of being able to get Ronaldo to Stamford Bridge, it's one you can't really pass up upon, is it? Even if it doesn't quite fit.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I said this on Lawrence's stream. Like this, there's just so many pros and cons to it. I don't know
Yeah,
where to sort of settle with it because it could either go tits up or it could go really, really well. It's still Ronaldo at the end of the day. He'd
yeah,
score goals. It's just how would the rest of the team take to him? Would they like the thing? With Lukaku, it's like he was kind of like I don't think the teammates took too well to him being that arrogant because,
yeah,
like, although it's Lukaku, like, it's not like comparable to Ronaldo. Like, maybe the teammates of Chelsea would look up to Ronaldo and kind of see, like, I want to get to his level. Where Lukaku is not kind of that guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really that superstar global. Like, Ronaldo is one of the best players of all time. Like,
yeah.
e- even if Ronaldo was annoyed with the teammates of Chelsea, like would they like take that as a positive because it's Ronaldo? That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Um, yeah, there's so much uncertainty around this transfer if it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it is down to Thomas Tuchel. He'll give the go ahead. But I do feel that if we didn't get Raphinha, if we don't get Dembele, if we end up selling Brozier as well, there's not that many options out there. I think the further this goes into the window, perhaps the more chance of this happening there is. Because I can't really think of too many other attacking players who've been linked. I don't think Neymar would make a move. So it'll be interesting. I mean, just while we're on attack, mate. Do you envisage Kai Havertz to be the main centre forward going into next season? I mean, because it's certainly looking that way right now. We're not really linked with any out and out nines. There's not really that many top nines on the market. I mean, look at Lewandowski potentially, but again, he wants Barca. Do you expect Havertz to be the main man for the middle next season?
As it stands, yeah, I think right now probably. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Broya, but if
Yeah,
he gets sold, then we're definitely going to sign someone, which is like who? Like that's where I think Ronaldo
yeah,
comes up to the discussion because like he's the only real striker that's on the market. Like I'd love Lewandowski, but he just doesn't want to move here.
no,
And he really wants Barca, so we can't wait around for him. And of course, I don't really know who else is out there to be honest. I mean, I heard a bit of talk of maybe putting Broja in a deal for Osimhen, but
mm.
it's a lot of money. Like ADL as well, Napoli, not got great relations, so. Yeah, I expect Havertz to start the season at least up top for sure.
Yeah, I would expect that as well. I think it's a big season for Kai Havertz. It really is. Yeah, he's had moments, but consistency wise in the league, it's not been there. And if he's going to be trusted as the main man through the middle, he's got to step up and deliver on a far more consistent basis. Like obviously all those around him need to. But on Ronaldo, we just need to watch this space. And on Brozier as well, be assessed by Tuchel in pre-season in the States. See what he thinks of him. I probably expect him to either be loaned out to another Premier League side or most likely sold and funds gone towards someone else. But Mate, moving on to defence then. Matthijs de Ligt has been the main target. It's come out in the last few days, though, that reports saying that he would prefer a move to Bayern Munich. I mean, Pys, this seems to happen to us quite often at the moment. We're negotiating with players. We might even agree fees. Someone else comes in, and then they prefer going to that club instead. I mean, do you think de Ligt's preference is definitely Bayern over us? And can Bayern actually offer that £75 million that Juve reportedly want? Because I don't think Bayern can match what we can offer financially. But I mean, where do you stand on the de Ligt thing? Because I love de Ligt. I think it'd be a great signing for us. But do you think this could be another one that we could miss out on because he would prefer to go somewhere else?
Potentially, yeah. For sure. I think the Ligt is an interesting one again. I know that the German media has been saying, like, I can't say his name, but the Bayern CEO is like Hansi something.
What, Salih
s-
Hammerzic?
yeah, that guy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't say
yeah,
that name, but yeah.
yeah.
He's been supposedly like working on convincing the Ligt. So when that happens, I'm like, yeah, they kind of might be ahead of us, but potentially we've had other priorities, the Sterling stuff. So maybe Tuchel hasn't had the chance to talk to De Ligt. I'm not sure. Heard the reports that he would do, but yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea would put more money down. It's just where
Yeah.
would he want to go? But then again, we've not heard anything about an official offer from Chelsea, so I don't really know what's happening on that one. To be fair, I know he's definitely leaving. Um, I think next few days we'll find out more about this. If Bayern going really strong, it'll be interesting to see if Chelsea match that, because then it will really show like how much do we really want him. Because it seems like Jules Kounde has been you know put on the back burner as such. I
Yeah.
think a little bit. Seems like Tuchel really wants to lick. So let's see if it's Tuchel's number one target. Then we got to go all in for him. To be honest with you, just don't overpay. Like, I don't want some like 80 million fee or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, 70, 65, 70 million.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more than good enough for me.
the Times are reporting that Juventus would be wanting £75 million. I don't know how accurate that is, but I mean, Price for De Ligt, 22 years of age, can play in a back four, can play in any of the centre back positions really across the three like middle, left, and centre and right. Sorry, £75 million for a 22-year-old. I mean, one of the best centre backs in Europe. Do you think that would represent good value for money? I mean, I personally wouldn't. I know it's a lot of money, but I wouldn't have a huge issue with us putting that sort of outlay out on De Ligt, considering if he wants to be here for the next 5, 6, 7 years, then there's still resale value there, and we get him in the best years of his career, and he can still improve.
Yeah, 100%. I do see that point. I think as well with De Ligt over Kunde, I think Kunde's probably performing at a more consistent level at the moment, but De Ligt is just that leader. Like, he's
Yeah,
just that Thiago Silva replacement for me. Like, I think I know Kunde plays in the back four for Sevilla, but for me, if we was to move to a back four long term, I'd rather have De Ligt in there. Like, I think he's just that guy. I think Kunde's probably a little bit better on the ball, but De Ligt's just that kind of like I don't know. It kind of reminds me of John Terry a bit. Like, he
yeah,
throws himself into tackles. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he's a bit of a warrior, to be fair, and of course he's got that leadership aspect at 22, which is very, very rare. I mean, he captained Ajax at 19 in a
yeah.
Champions League campaign, so yeah, he's definitely a special player, and it's why he joined Juventus for that much in the first place. So yeah, I would prefer the Ligt, but if we get Kunde, I'm not like unhappy at all. Like, I think it's still a good signing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can definitely get De Ligt if we offer the money. I mean, if we can offer more money than Bayern, then I think he will come to us. But if Bayern kind of match our offer, then if it's a straight choice for him, then it looks like he wants to join Bayern instead, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, it looks like just last thing on De Ligt, it looks like the swap deal that was talked about at the start of the kind of negotiations. Perhaps offering a Timo Werner or maybe a Christian Pulisic, etc. That is like it's not really going to happen anymore. De Ligt appears it's very much going to be straight cash. I mean, I'm not exactly surprised that a swap deal is potentially broken down. Are you?
No, I keep saying this. Like, I know everyone was kind of like lapping up the whole Todd Boehly doing the swaps thing. Like, they never happen in
No,
football ever. Like,
they don't.
do you know? Because the thing is, it's because you have to get every single party agreeing to it, and even if that does happen, it takes more time. Like, you've got to get Werner to agree the contract terms. You've got to get Werner's agents happy with it. You've got to get the medical sorted. You've got to get The Ligt happy, like Chelsea, Juventus, like even if it was Pulisic, like same thing. Like it's just an extra piece that you have to deal with, like paperwork and stuff like that, salary. So yeah, that's why swap bills very rarely ever happen. I think it would have been lovely, but um, I definitely know that they were initially interested for sure in Werner and Pulisic, but maybe they just decided they wanted more money up front, which is fair enough.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, sticking with centre backs, mate. Last night, one that we look like we are close to signing. Coming out last night, Paul Joyce reporting that Chelsea are now in advanced talks for the return of Nathan Ake. Obviously, he's now 27 years old. He was at the club. We sold him to Bournemouth for 20 mil a few years ago. He went on to City for 40 million pounds. He's done okay there. He's not played an awful lot. Thomas Tuchel's a big fan of his. He's versatile, can play at centre back, can play left back as well. Pys, what are your thoughts on Nathan Ake? Because it's one that is not, getting a lot of people excited. I get that. It wouldn't be my first choice either. But having said that, he's not a bad player. He's versatile. That appeals to Tuchel. Probably about 40, 41 million pounds. City want to get their money back at least for him. What are your thoughts on this deal? Because this now very much looks like it is going to happen. You a fan of Ake return? Do you think it's he's a good player to have in the squad?
I think he's a good player, but I'm so wary of the fee. Like I don't really want us paying anything above 30 million, which is why I don't think it's going to happen. By the way, like I know it's been reported. No, I don't. I mean, I'm not going against Paul Joyce or anything, and I mean Matt Law has said that we're in talks, but I don't know if Chelsea pay like 40 million or above, they're just stupid. Even if the thing is with Ake, like even if he turns out to be a 40 million pound consistent player for us, it's the fact that we'd be giving City like what 90 to 100 million, like that just makes me sick. Like he's not a starter for them. Like how does that make sense? Like you're signing one of their depth centre backs to make him our starter because he will be a starter, by the way. If he joins, he'll start.
Do you think so?
Yeah, he'll start at left centre back in the back three for sure. If we stick with it, we ain't spending. This is one of Tuchel's top targets, by the way, supposedly. So it's like we ain't spending whatever we spend just to make him a bench player. Chelsea don't do that, so we're not Man City. He'll be a starter. So I'm honestly, I know a lot of fans say he's horrible. He's not. He's actually a very underrated player.
Yeah,
he's very, very good on the ball. I just think again with Ake, it's like if we play a back three, like Ake and Kounde, like where's the long term planning in that? Because we're eventually going to move away from this back three. Like, I know they're good in the air, but they're not like we need that imposing figure for me. Like Silva's not an imposing figure either. He's quite small. So for me, I've always said like if you get Kounde, get Koulibaly. I really want Koulibaly. Kimpembe, another one is like I don't really rate him that highly, but he was unbelievable under Tuchel. So maybe it's just another like maybe we can make a Rudiger out of him or something. I don't know, but if this Ake one happens, Charlie, I'm a bit sort of mixed on it, especially because of the price will turn me off if it's like 40 million plus.
I would agree on that. I think if Ake could be done for 30 million and then include add-ons to bump the price up a little bit, then I don't think that's so bad. But when you're starting with a base 40 million fee, I get your point. I mean, you could even get someone like Kimpembe probably for 40, 50 million maybe. But yeah, again, the centre backs, obviously no one's officially in the door yet. We need to get a move on in defence. I mean, we've talked about Ligt, we talked about Ake, Kimpembe. Jules Kounde, mate, this is weird for me because this should have been done last summer. Then, like, if Chelsea really want Jules Kounde, surely it should have been done by now. It could have easily been wrapped up. I mean, what do you reckon the hold up is with Kounde? Do you think we're just focusing on other targets and we know the Kounde deal is going to be easy to do, so we put it on the back burners? But then the counter to that argument is if it's easy to do, just get it done straight away because we need defenders in the door. I mean, what do you think is going on with this Kounde deal? Because there seems to be a big hold up, and Chelsea have put no official bid in for him either, which I find surprising.
Ligt. I think Tuchel wants Ligt as his number one choice. They're both right centre backs, so I think if we get outbid by Bayern or we decide to walk away from that, I think Kounde is probably the next player that we'll sign. Still unclear how much Tuchel rates him because there was a lot of reporting that it was just a Marina target, but he was also linked with what's his name, Skriniar as well. I think
Yeah.
from Milan, who hasn't gone to PSG yet, so that could crop back up. But yeah, I think the whole Kounde hold up is just because Tuchel wants Ligt as his number one right centre back choice.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, mate, if Skriniar went to PSG and then that freed up a space for Kimpembe to move on to us. I mean, there's possibility in that. I mean, Pys, do you expect it, last thing on centre-backs, do you expect it to be Ligt or Kounde plus Ake, or do you think it could be Ligt and Kounde? Or it could even be Ligt, Kounde and Ake. Do you think there's a chance of all three?
No, I think it will be Ligt / Kounde / Skriniar
Yeah.
plus Ake / Kimpembe. I think because the three I mentioned there are right centre backs and Ake and Kimpembe left centre backs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know there's been talks of like the Ligt could play on the left, Kounde could be on the right, but that's like if they want 70 million or something, and then you're playing 55 for Kounde, that's what
Yeah.
120, 130 million.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. Now I think we either like this is what I don't really get even with the Ake deals because like if we spend 40 million plus and we buy Ligt, that's well over 100 million as well. So I, again,
I
I
mean,
don't I don't know what our budget is. Like, there's been talks of 200 million, but who knows? Like, budget's not like we could sell players. You know, Broja could go. That could be put into the defense instead of the attack. Or I don't know. Like, it's weird.
mate, do you think there's a chance that if Ake does happen, do you think that we could see him playing as a left wing back? Because obviously, you know,
Oh, Christ.
do you think he'd be signed as a left wing back, or do you think he'd be signed as a centre back? I know we know he can play left back. I mean, let's be honest, Chile, he's doing really well in his recovery, but he's not going to be up to full speed really to play the start of the season. You wouldn't expect so. So we do need someone to come in that left wing back slot and realistically be ready to start the season for us. I mean, are you surprised that we've not been linked with too many wing back / fullback options, really, apart from that Jonathan Klaus, who'd be 10 million from Lons in Ligue 1. We're not really linked with any defensive reinforcements in the wing back areas. Does that surprise you?
Not really. I think we've got other priorities. I mean, if Aspi leaves, I think we get the guy Klaus for the
Yeah,
right wing back spot. That will give Reece James some very good competition, in my opinion, especially going forward. I think he had the most goals and assists combined from any defender in the whole of
yeah.
Europe last season, more than Trent, more than Reece and others. So, yeah, that one's really good. I just, I don't know about the left wing back spot or the left back, whatever we play, because I mean, Ake could fill in there, but again, like you've got Emerson, Alonso. Is Alonso going to get his move to Barca? Supposedly Tuchel likes Emerson, so I think that one's going to be a bit up in the air for a while, and maybe something happens later on in the window.
Yeah, well, and I hope so, because as you say, mate, you know, defence needs to be sorted like ASAP, really. We've got a lot of players that have obviously Rudiger and Christensen gone. They both need to be replaced. Alonso and Aspi are probably on their way out. They both need to be replaced as well. There's a lot of business that still needs to be done. I mean, it's great that, you know, Sterling's virtually in, but I mean, Pys, we're off on our pre-season tour to the States tomorrow. Are you a bit, you know, disappointed / worried that we're heading off out to the States and no one's actually officially signed for us?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm a little bit annoyed, but again, I think this weekend's sort of early next week up until about Wednesday is going to be very, very important to get players in and flying out because I think well we fly out there, but we don't actually play for another 9 days. I think afterwards,
Yeah.
so there's still time to get players out there. It's just not ideal. Like you want. Like Tuchel was soon. Ideally, when you get there, Tuchel wants to be, you know, drawing up formations, starting, you know, getting ready. So if players kind of join halfway through that, it's kind of like, you know, it's quite awkward. But you know, again, Tuchel will have all these coaches out there, so hopefully everything is going to be okay. I'm just waiting for this Raheem Sterling news, to be honest with you, because like apparently he's supposed to be flying out tomorrow, and we've not heard anything. Maybe it comes later today. I'm not sure, but
Well, he's got to do a medical, hasn't he?
yeah. Yeah, I know you've got to do the medical, but again, that could already be sorted behind the scenes. Maybe it's
Yeah.
already scheduled. I don't know. It's been very weird this summer in terms of information, the timing when it comes out. But yeah, it does worry me a little bit with how we haven't signed any centre backs yet, and we've lost two of them.
We've got
You
a
know,
lot of business to do. We do need to get a bit of a move on, mate. Just a couple of things in the chat, guys. Big up everyone in the chat. Really appreciate you all getting involved. Mate, just on midfield briefly, these links with Frankie De Jong. I'm not sure I'm reading too much into them personally. I don't know if it's tactics from Barcelona to get Man United to potentially speed up in any negotiations. I mean, mate, from what you know and your thoughts on that, do you think kind of it's basically a load of nonsense, these De Jong links with Chelsea, and is he the right profile of midfield player we're looking for?
See, the whole De Jong links for me is like I have two thoughts. It's either Barca trying to get a bidding war with Man United, or we're generally interested in him. But if we're interested in him, we're thinking about a bid, then for me that means someone's leaving, whether that be Jorginho, Kante, or Gallagher.
Yeah,
Because De Jong can play a six. He's better as an eight, but he definitely can play a six. Very, very good player. It's just again for me, yeah. You talk about profile, like he's not really the profile that I think we should be looking for. But again, a player like De Jong, if he comes available, definitely should try and sign him if it's within the budget and the planning makes sense. Well, I'm not. I'm a bit confused because like our priorities seem to be a bit all over the place. Like,
yeah.
surely we get the defenders sorted first, but no, we've got an attacker now. We're looking at a midfielder. It's like it's all a bit of a my brain's going all different places. It's like it's a bit weird. Um, it's a bit of a mess, but yeah, I would definitely like to see De Jong at Chelsea. I mean, him and Kovacic in the same
It'd be all
midfield
right,
would be
wouldn't
like,
it?
yeah, try get the ball off us, but um, yeah, not too sure yet. It's early stages for sure on that one. We'll see.
I mean, another one that was kind of appeared in the last, well, I think this week, a few days ago, Matthias Nunes. That sort of came from nowhere, really. Obviously, Sporting Lisbon midfield player. Pep Guardiola is a big fan of his. Um, I'm sure you've probably seen those reports. I mean, how accurate do you think they are? I mean, subsequently, I think it's come out that actually Chelsea don't really have any concrete interest in him. But I mean, is Nunes a player you think he could do well at Chelsea? Do you know much about him?
I don't, to be honest with you, but from what I've seen, again, looks similar to Kovacic. Really good ball carrier, quite tenacious, good in the tackle. But again, De Jong, Nunes, they're more number eights, which is like
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Kante leaving? Is Gallagher going to get sold? I'm not sure. Like maybe something's going on behind the scenes. I'm not sure, but yeah, again, very early stages. Like we're being linked with these guys, but again, no official bids, no like
No.
follow-up reports from multiple reporters. Like that's when it gets interesting when that sort of stuff happens. So yeah, I just keep an eye on the midfielders.
Yeah.
Don't take it too seriously. Yeah, I don't think. But again, Chelsea can make stuff happen very quick. Like we can go from 2 days ago being interested to preparing a bid in the next 2 days. So
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is it,
know.
isn't it?
It's crazy.
It is mad. I mean, just on midfield as well, mate. Obviously, it's clear Declan Rice is the number one priority. Tuchel wants him. Obviously, they're big fans of his. We want him to come to Chelsea. It's gone a bit quiet on that. A deal with West Ham's going to be very difficult. They're in the driving seat. They're going to demand a big fee. Rice has got a good few years left on his contract as well. Mate, if Rice is the number one target, do you think it's worth just waiting until we can get him rather than spending money to bring someone else in when they're not really the top target? I mean, do you think that we'd be all right next season if we went into it with the same midfield options we had last season plus Gallagher?
No, I don't think so. In terms of like the midfield options, I do think we need a midfielder of some sort.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying this. Kovacic he's out for at least a month a
Gets
season.
injured all the time, doesn't
Kante is like
he?
I never thought it could get worse, but genuinely, he went on international break to France, played a game, and got
Injured.
injured.
Yeah.
Like it's at the point now where I'm like, just sell him. Like
Yeah.
I love you, but just sell him because he's literally like he's so unreliable. It's ridiculous. And not only that, it's not like he's world class when he's playing anymore. Like I went to a lot of games last season, extremely average. Like I can't believe I ever say this, but the decline is real. It honestly is real.
Yeah.
Champions League again, bro. Like, arguably got us knocked out with that pass, which
Yeah.
tried to chip and they scored from. So, I mean, I love Kante, but maybe it's time to call a spade and just let him go. I don't know. But again, if you can kind of keep Kante as almost a Swiss Army knife, fantastic. But again, to counter that point, Tuchel loves him and he wants to
He
play him
does love him.
when he's fit. So it's like I don't know. But yeah, I'm actually hoping Ampadu gets a chance in midfield. To be fair, I
Do
feel
you think
like
he? I can't see it happening. Do you think he will get an opportunity?
I hope so. I mean, he played in midfield last season for Venezia, I think it is.
Yeah, and he played wing back as well for me. He looks all right.
He's very good for Wales as well. He's had multiple loans now. I think he's a good DM. He's more the profile we're looking for in terms of if we want to wait for Rice. He's a bit more physical, good
Yeah.
on the ball, good in the tackle. He's quick. Not the greatest in the air, but he's decent enough. I think it could be quite a nice rotational option for our midfield. Um, but yeah, I do think we need some sort of midfielder. And Gallagher, for me, if we stay in the same formation, just sell him because I don't see the
Yeah,
point.
he's not a
Like he's
pivot player.
not
We've
a pivot
spoken about
player.
this
He
before,
can't
is
do
he?
it.
Yeah.
What's the point? And I have massive reservations about him on the ball as well. Like massive, massive reservations. So in terms of like his pass completion and stuff like that, it was bad at Palace last season. He's
Yeah,
more of an
there was
eight
a
for
big
sure.
there was a big drop off, weren't there? Like he started really well that second half of the season. I think he went 10, 12 games in a row with like no contributions to any goals at all. It's going to happen with a young player, but yeah, I mean, I think Gallagher will get an opportunity, like all these guys will in pre-season. It implies just on outgoings now. Obviously, we've seen Christensen and Rudiger go. Jorginho and Kante are in both heading into the last 12 months of their contracts. Realistically, we need a decision. We need to find out what their plans are. They want to stay or not, because we don't want to go into a situation again where they could potentially lose both these guys on frees. Are you expecting both of them to stay this summer, or do you think one will be moved on? I mean, if someone's moved on, it's going to be Jorginho because Tuchel, as you said, he loves Kante.
You'd think so, but then again, I guess it also comes down to the players' wishes. Like, I know Jorginho's agents come out and said, he wants to stay and stuff like
Yeah.
this, but he's also said he wants to leave at certain points. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you trust from that guy? Like, he's just a typical agent, typical football agent. But yeah, with Kante, it's an interesting one. I know he's returned to training and stuff, but we haven't heard that he wants to leave. I've always thought with Kante, he may I don't know whether he'd retire. I feel like he's got a big move in him still. Like,
Yeah. He's
I don't
running
know.
out of time, though.
Yeah, which is why I feel like he might leave. But again, we've heard nothing on this, not even a rumor or anything. So I think they probably will both stay. To be honest with you, as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, would you be against that? I mean, you're quite happy if they both stayed? I've got no issue with them both staying, but I just don't want us to end up in another situation where we end up losing them both on frees. It's just annoying. It's just poor planning if that happens. But I mean, I guess it makes next summer really important. I know we haven't got through this summer yet, but if they were, they could both be leaving. They could need to do some major business in midfield next summer as well if they both ended up leaving on a free. In terms of attack, Hakim Ziyech looks like he's probably going to go to AC Milan. How do you feel about that, mate? I know Ziyech's a talented player. He's very one-footed, obviously. He's not lacks consistency in the Premier League for me. He's just not done it on a consistent enough basis like a lot of the attackers. On his day, he's fantastic. I think he's probably our most technically gifted attacking player. But, Pys, you just think it's just not really worked out for him? Do you think it's best for both parties that he moves on?
Pretty much summed it up well. Yeah. I always thought with Ziyech, I know people were saying, our wingers, they don't need to be that quick. I feel like in the Premier League, you need to be quick
Yeah,
if
you need
you're
a
a
bit
winger.
about you.
He's not quick at all. He's very, very average speed. I feel like that haunts him a little bit. So yeah, very, very one-footed, as you said. It's kind of predictable, but he's much better when he plays as like a touchline winger because he's got more space in the front at the back. But obviously, when we've played the free last season, that's really, really hurt him. He doesn't have the same space to do
No.
it, pick up the passes and things like that. Like, yeah, it's just not a great fit. But I think he'll do really well for AC Milan for sure.
Yeah, I think he'll do well in Serie A, definitely. I mean, mate, we've got a lot of players we need to move out. I'm personally a little bit concerned that we're actually going to struggle to shift a lot of these players out that we don't want anymore. I mean, the prospect for me of Timo Werner being at the club next season is definitely getting bigger in there. Do you think they're going to be able to shift on someone like Werner? Because I just don't know who's going to take him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want him to go.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, but his wages is just ridiculous. And I said this at the start, so it's why I got so excited when the whole Juventus thing came up. Because for me, I only saw like Bayern or Dortmund, and they don't seem to want him. So it's like he's going to stay. He 100% is going to stay.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if he left, but shocked in a good way because I want him to go. I think, yeah, everyone knows my thoughts on him.
We need to move him on. He's on 275k a week as well, even just to free the wages up. Like, I just need to get rid of him. We really do. I mean, I think it's going to be difficult to get rid of him. I mean, some other guys that we know we need to potentially move on as well. I mean, Pys, you're expecting Kepa to stay. It's all gone a little bit quiet on that. I know from a financial perspective, it doesn't make sense to keep him as a number 2 keeper with the wages that he's on. I'm happy for him to stay because he's a very good goalkeeper. But I mean, goalkeeper is not really our main priority to address. It's hard to get a number 2 keeper in. Do you think Kepa's going to stay, mate?
I feel like this one might crop up later on in the window. Yeah, again, for me, this is kind of like the player's wishes. How much does he want to go? If he really wants game time, then he'll go for sure. I think Chelsea will facilitate even a loan. I think so. Maybe Lazio or something. I know we've been linked to that Strakosha guy.
Yeah.
I don't expect anything soon. I think later on in the window. If Kepa really pushes it. If not, I think Tuchel was probably happy to keep him as number 2.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with Kepa staying. In all honesty, I mean, mate, you know, I don't know. I just feel that there's so many players that we need to move on. There's still a lot of business to do. I mean, do you think Chelsea? I don't want to say they're leaving it late because there's a long way to go in the window. But for me, you don't want to be bringing players in once the season started. You want your business done before you start playing football matches because otherwise, they've missed all the pre-season and stuff. I mean, do you think, mate, that Chelsea will get themselves together? We will bring more players in and they will be brought in plenty of time? Or do you feel a little bit optimistic and you think, I don't know, like, guys, we need to get a bit of a move on it? Because we're looking at it, and as we've discussed for the last 40-odd minutes, there's so much business to do. And these things don't just happen. It takes a lot of time to get these deals over the line for these sort of players.
Yeah, and you see yesterday with the likes of Todd Boehly and Boehly going to Barca, you do this stuff kind of very, very early or even before. You have these meetings before, ahead of the transfer window, but of course they couldn't because of the whole sort of sanctions and taking over of the club. So, yeah, I do definitely think we're a bit behind and maybe, unfortunately, a lot of the players who want to go this summer may not be possible to leave. And potentially, if we want to get the incomings we might need, the amount, then maybe we'll have to facilitate with using some money from the likes of Broja and Gallagher and maybe even Cole. I don't know. I don't want any of them to leave, but I just think it is a fact that it's easier to sell those than it is to sell some of the so-called dead wood. And it's a shame, but it is what it is. And also, like, another factor I want to point out is, like, these young players like Cole and Broja, with talking about those specifically, because I've not heard too much on Gallagher, but I know for a fact, like, they really want to be regular first teamers. Like, their agents and their families are pushing it. So if Tuchel tells them, and rightly so, look, your backups, your number 2 roles and stuff like that, are they actually going to accept that? That's some things Chelsea need to think about, because Chelsea fans get mad when we sell them, but is it actually all Tuchel's fault? Because Tuchel would probably like to keep these guys, but there's more things you need to think about. Like, I remember I had Nathan Gissing on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he said, like, he talked to someone from Colwell's camp, and they said to him, like, we've got to play. He's got to play regularly. So after he told that to me, I was like, well, he's gone then. Because
these guys aren't going to get the minutes they need or they want.
They don't want to go on loans either. They want to have regular first team minutes, but they want to be somewhere where they're assured they're going to be. So that's why you see the likes of West Ham, Newcastle, Everton want permanent transfers for Broja, and that is the unfortunate reality of having a good academy. Is like, not everyone can make it. You know what I mean? Some will like to go on loan. Some will just want their career sorted. So,
I mean,
it's what it is.
There's only so much you can do. At the end of the day, I know, like, people love. Look, we all want players to come through the academy and be mainstays in the first team. We've seen it with JT. We've seen it with Mason Mount. Reece James, etc. It does happen, but not every. I think some Chelsea fans don't realise that not every player that comes through the academy is going to play for the first team. Like, if you're good enough, you'll play. It's as simple as that. If you're good enough, you'll play. But as you said, mate, a lot of these guys that are coming through the academy, they want to be playing a lot of first team football. Like Chelsea, a lot of players we wanted to keep. Like, we wanted to keep Livramento, but he wanted to go and play regular football. In that position, it's not the club's fault. If someone wants to go and play regular football, then that's their choice, and that's just the way it goes. So And as you say also, mate, it's a lot easier to get money for these academy players than it is for some of the so-called more established stars. But again, we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of business to be done. A lot of players need to be moved out. And I think that could potentially be some of the hold-up as well for some of the incomings, maybe, is that the squad's so bloated. We need to get rid of a lot of players to even bring some in. But yeah, that seems like a good point to round out, guys. Thanks so much for getting involved in the chat. As always, really appreciate it. I do read them all or try and get to as many as I can. So thanks for getting involved, guys. Please do smash a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Every new subscriber helps. So yeah, on your way out, guys, please click that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Pys, thanks so much, bro. Appreciate your time as always, guys. Make sure you check out Pys on Twitter for all the latest Chelsea news, keeping us all up to date. So great work as always, mate. Check out his website as well. All linked in the description. Bro, thanks so much. Guys, smash that subscribe button on your way out. Have a great weekend. I'll be back next week and up the Chelsea.